May 9th, 2016 meeting of the Wakefield Board of Selectmen. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the board minutes from April 25th, 2016?
So moved.
Moved by Paul.
Second.
Second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next on the list is reorganization, which typically would happen today. We are postponing that until our next meeting. At the end of what I'd like to say, I'd like to have a small moment of silence around the table. Pat Glynn is not here today because he tragically and suddenly lost his nephew, Ryan Shaw, today. Our thoughts, prayers and love go out to the Shaw family, the Warshaw and Glynn family in this absolutely unspeakable and heartbreaking loss. So if we could have a short moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Public participation, I see that Dan Benjamin has signed in. I'll talk later.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Dan.
And Madam Chairman and members, my name is Dan Benjamin. I think many of you know me. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board and our fellow Wakefieldians tonight. As first runner-up for selectmen in the recent town election, I am deeply concerned about the turn of events that have transpired since the recent vacancy on the board. If we can all just slow down and consider what is best for our community before we rush into judgment on this issue. I have serious reservations about the wisdom of Mrs. Hull's petition before calling for a special election to fill a vacancy. After many inquiries to the Secretary of State Elections Division and our Town Council, Tom Mullen, my understanding of law is that this vacancy was not mandated to be filled by Wakefield's town charter or Massachusetts general laws. Rather, the concurrently reconstituted 6-member board could leave the seat vacant for 1 year left on Ms. Sharon's 3-year term when it expires in April 2017. Under Wakefield's charter, section 3-C, elected town offices in general, it states, vacancies in office. Unless otherwise provided by this charter, any vacancy in an elected office shall be filled in the manner provided by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 10 states, if an occupancy occurs in the office of selectman, the remaining selectman may call a special election to fill the vacancy and shall call such election upon the request in writing of 200 registered voters of Wakefield. In other words, if the Board of Selectmen had not been petitioned to call a special election, they would have decided to leave the seat vacant for its unexpired 1-year term when it would have been filled during the regular 2017 town election, as reported in the April 27th Wakefield item. The selectmen could decide to keep the seat vacant until next April's election. Or they could decide to have a special election to fill the position, possibly at the state primary in September or even the general presidential election in November. If town council and the board agrees with this interpretation of the law, I would call on Mrs. Hull to withdraw her petition and allow the board to exercise their best judgment on the issue. However, if in their wisdom the board believes they must comply with the petitioner's call for a special election, I ask that they do so under the following conditions to make it fair for all candidates who may choose to run for that office. First, in considering the date of the special election, Mrs. Hull was quoted in the May 15th Wakefield item. Having 6 members on a 7-member board is not beneficial to the town, especially if there is a 3-to-3 tie. Waiting until the next election, in my opinion, is not a good idea. Why? The Board of Selectmen, their budget recommendations, which were approved at our recent town meeting, there are no urgent matters before the board, that can't be resolved by its 6 able members and our town administrator, Steve Mayo? And when was the last time this board had a 3-3 tie vote? If the Supreme Court of the United States can function with a vacancy, I'm confident the Wakefield Board of Selectmen can do so likewise. Finally, if the board decides to hold a special election, I hope they do so to coincide with the fall primary, Thursday, September 8th. For the 2 reasons: first and foremost, it will cost the town $15,000 in special election costs. That's $15,000, equal to the salary of a new teacher's aide. And instead of voting in the middle of July, 64 days from the date that the board votes to call a special election, when folks are on vacation, the turnout would be incredibly low. More citizens could vote after Labor Day when kids are back to school. I believe your board will make your decision based on the law without bias or favoritism in an open and transparent way that will inspire people's trust in their government. And I thank you, Daniel Benjamin.
Thank you, Dan.
Just beat the bell.
Well timed.
Moving on to personnel and appointments. We have 2 appointments to the Veterans Advisory Board. James Panett, 24 Juniper Ave, and Richard Pearson, 27 Spruce Street. Do I have a motion in a second?
Madam Chair, I would move that we vote on the slate.
Moved by Paul, second by Peter. All in favor of voting on the slate of Mr. Panett and Pearson?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we also next have an appointment of a replacement building inspector when our inspector goes on vacation. Is that correct?
Yes, under Mass General laws, when inspections come in, they have to be done within a certain period of time, sometimes as quick as 48 hours. If the building inspector is away or sick or out for whatever reason, we can't have constructive approval of inspection. So, and we need a building inspector who is certified. So the credentials for Mr. Colatono is in the package. He is been around a long time. He has all the proper licenses. So Jack did find him as a good replacement for him when he was gone.
Excellent. Motion and a second to appoint Mr. Colantoni as the replacement building inspector.
So moved.
Moved by Paul, second
Second.
by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We also have an appointment as a teller to Precinct 6, Paula Erickson at 6 Payon Boulevard.
So moved.
Moved by Paul, second by Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
So our next is the presentation of Mrs. Hall's petition. Phyllis, if you could please come to the table. Thank you.
Phyllis Hull, 14 Indian Hill Road, Wakefield, Mass. And I'm here to speak on a special election. As required by Massachusetts general law, I have obtained over 200 signatures necessary to require a special election to fill a vacant seat on the Board of Selectmen. It is my opinion that the town is best served by a fully completed board. Therefore, I obtained the signatures within days of the town election. I realize that there is a minimum time necessary so interested candidates can properly obtain the necessary signatures to be placed on the ballot. I am requesting that the Board of Selectmen schedule the election for as soon as possible after that minimum period is passed. I know some will say wait until the next election, but as I have stated, in my opinion, to the town's business is it too important to risk as, on a board where voters would resist in a 3-3 tie. So I am here to ask for that time frame. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to turn this over to our esteemed town council, Tom Mullen.
Okay. Well, Madam Chair, to some extent, my thunder's been stolen because let me read from Chapter 41, Section 10 for the second time in this meeting. If there is a failure to elect or a vacancy occurs in the office of selectman, the remaining selectmen may call a special election to fill the vacancy and shall call such election upon the request in writing of 200 registered voters of the town. We now have a petition signed by 200 registered voters of the town. I understand that the Secretary of State's office has reported to us that when you add the time periods required by statute for the registration of voters in advance of the special election, plus the opportunity that candidates need to circulate their own nomination petitions and to have those petitions certified by the registrars of voters, you end up with a 64-day minimum period between your calling an election and the actual date of the election, which pushes us somewhere into early to mid-July. Now, Mr. Benjamin brought up the question, and Ms. Hull has alluded to it, exactly at what point in time do you hold the election? The statute is not explicit about it, doesn't say it has to happen as soon as possible, but it does say upon upon the request in writing of 200 registered voters. And the word upon, when used in our general laws, generally means as soon as reasonably practicable after receipt. So I think that if the legislature had meant to grant the selectmen discretion to delay a special election even after receiving a petition of 200 voters, they would have said that. And in fact, the whole notion of having a petition to force the selectmen's hands suggests that that kind of discretion is meant to be denied to the board. So for all these reasons, I would say that unless the petition specified a particular later date, and this does not, that the selectmen legally should, or I should say must, call for a special election as soon as is reasonably practicable, which would push us into, say, mid-July.
Thank you, Tom. Discussion? Any discussion? Paul?
I have several questions, please. If we did not have the special election the first or second week of July, when would the election fall this year for the September election? What date is the September election this year?
I believe it's September 8th.
So you're talking about less than a 2-month period so that we could actually do it and actually save the town $15,000.
Not according to what Tom says, I would.
If the petitioner withdrew her 200 signatures right now and knew that instead of July, a definite vote was coming in September, we would save $15,000, correct?
Arguably, yes.
In about a 50-day
Okay.
period.
Well, and again, Phyllis, I have all the respect in the world for you. And you have made sound judgment, and you always had the strong urge to do what was right for this town, okay, when we sat here. And I agree with you a lot of times. I'm having a hard time with this one issue right now where we're going to spend $15,000. If Mr. Mullen says that we have to fulfill this, I'm going to vote yes, because we have to, because we're being told to do so. But I'm going to appeal to you, as I think a few others have, that if you could wait till September, it might be better financially for the town, and we still have the election happen. But if you're,
I will not wait. I do
Okay.
not want to wait till September.
and I respect that, but I had to ask. Okay, so with that said, thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'm going to echo Paul's sentiments. Voter turnout last April was about 15%, which was extremely low. We're looking at probably voter turnout under 10% with this next election if it's held in July. You've done a lot for the town. I respect everything you've done for the town, Phyllis. I'm going to ask that you withdraw this notion.
No.
I don't see it as
I
in the
will not
best.
withdraw
I
my
don't see it
motion.
as in the best interest of the town, and it's not.
I've already told you, I will not withdraw.
Okay.
Well, it sounds definite. I'm going to defer with Tom's comments then, and I think that's the only option we really have.
I think in light of Phyllis saying she won't withdraw, and what our charter says, and our charter indicates unless otherwise, talks about the law that Mr. Benjamin read, but unless otherwise provided by the charter, which our charter is very specific on. I am not a fan of a lot of things in our charter. I think this is something we should look at. Special elections probably should go to the next election, but Phyllis took advantage of what the charter allows her to do. I cannot falter on that.
Nope.
So I think as an attorney, my reading of both the law and the charter echoes what Tom says. So I think we do have to hold it after that 64-day period. I think that would fall on July 12th. I would actually suggest July 19th because I think the 12th, folks might still be away for the July 4th vacation. They took 2 weeks. So that's a date that comes within the parameters and the intent of what the charter has spoken to. So.
Just if you want a motion for
Yeah.
that date, Madam Chair.
So I would need a motion to hold the special election on July 19th, Tuesday, July 19th, 2016, for the vacant seat on the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Tony, seconded by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you.
We were a little late to our public hearing, so we need a roll call, a motion to move into the public hearing.
Aye.
Moved by Paul.
Moved. Second.
Second by Tony. Aye?
Aye.
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 Tony, aye. Good morning, gentlemen. We are in the public hearing. If you could identify yourselves.
Thank you very much. I'm Gene Sullivan from the Light Department, and with me is Vinnie McMahon, our engineer
Great.
from the Light Department, who can answer every single technical question you may want, as opposed to me. And Vinnie's fallen from a long line of cooperative and good-natured engineers we've had working with the town, so I wanted to have the opportunity to introduce you to him.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. This is a poll petition for the head of the lake where we're going to underground and clear up the vista of the lake there. I mean, we can look at the charts and all that. You can almost picture it. If you're standing across the lake, looking at the lake, there are 4 poles, either laminated, regular, and regular. We're saying those 4 poles are coming down. It's going to go underground. Where the last pole is on the left, going towards Main Street, we would have to put another pole in to the left of that, even further away from the obstruction view, because we need to come up out of ground at some point. So this is replacing those 4 poles with 1 pole, which will allow us to go underground.
Good. Any questions for Gene?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When are we gonna see a shovel in the ground? I know you went up to bid.
Well, it depends on how this board votes. I don't want to assume that we're going to get a favorable vote. I think if we get a favorable vote, you can see within a week.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay, really?
It's a nice timetable.
Yeah.
Vote for that.
Thanks. Would anyone like to speak to this from the public on the poll issue? Okay. So we need a motion requesting from the WMGLD to locate poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including the necessary anchors, guides, and other such sustaining and protecting fixtures to be owned and used by this petitioner along the following public way or way. Lowell Street between Quantipower Parkway and Main Street, approximately 39 feet northwesterly of pole number 72. Place 1 pole to be numbered pole 72.5.
So moved.
Moved by Paul.
Second.
Second by Tony. All in favor of 4
Aye.
for 1?
Aye.
We'll be
Excellent.
breaking ground shortly.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Good.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck, good.
We need a motion to get out of the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Paul, second by Peter.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye, aye.
Great.
Public hearing is closed. Okay. Wow. Is that it?
That's it on
Oh,
that
it's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no, I have to go back. Yeah. I jumped.
You get Catherine.
Okay.
Catherine has been waiting.
Sorry, Catherine, I got all excited. We went to correspondence. Please come up so you can talk about SOAR.
I haven't met you yet. I'm Catherine Dingra, and I work for the Health Department. And I run our substance abuse prevention program, Wake Up Coalition. And I'm really excited that Mr. Mayo asked me to talk about SOAR because this is another great collaboration of reason that we have the coalition. We have the health department, the schools, the police department, everyone's sitting at the same table working on mental health and substance abuse. We identified a problem. Usually we're focused on more upstream prevention where we're working in the schools and we're really looking at how do we access mental health, how do we prevent this. And then how SOAR came about was we were looking at that vulnerable population. We're hearing about every day of the young adults that are unfortunately losing their battles with substance use disorders, and we're really seeing in Wakefield it's the 18 to 26-year-olds that leave the public schools, leave support systems, and do not have that support system. So what we decided to do was create a program for that population. And so a group of us at Wake Up, including the police department and the schools and South Bay Mental Health, decided to start this program for this population. So it's another opportunity where we're using South Bay, so it's not something that we're paying for by the town. And this group will be led by a licensed mental health clinician, substance abuse counselor, and they'll work with individuals identified through an evidence-based program. So it's not going to be a drop-in program. It's going to be taking them through a curriculum. And it's also going to be matching these individuals to recovery if they need it, to treatment, to detox, to any assortment of treatment options, and it's also going to connect them to other resources and one-on-one counseling. It's going to connect the families to support. They're going to go through an intake process. It's going to be through their insurance, and almost all insurances are accepted. And right now we have 10 individuals already identified for the program. That's a great thing. We have our family service officer, Officer Toothaker, who's gone out and she knows all these individuals. Jill Chari, who runs the alternative program at the high school, knows a lot of these individuals. So we came up with a number of names. We've already reached out to these individuals and they're already on board. The families are appreciative that there's something local in the area. And then DPH is also looking at this program, looking at how we're setting up this model in Wakefield, because a lot of people can't travel 20 miles to the closest resource. So we're hoping a lot of things Wakefield's taking the lead on in the region around this area. And again, we're getting DPH's attention on how this program is setting up. So it's starting this week, and hopefully we'll have good things to report and setting up this support system for this extremely vulnerable population.
Sounds awesome.
You guys do a great job.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Bond approval.
Bond
Tossing it to
approval,
you.
thank you. Thank you. And Catherine, thank you.
Yeah.
I do want to say that what a wonderful program the entire Board of Health, and especially your work with not only the young children in Project Wakefield, all those young kids, and now even when they get along. So
Yeah.
really is making a difference out there in a very tough issue. So thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Before I read this, and I will read this very long motion if that's okay.
Absolutely.
With you, Madam Chair. But basically what this is, as the board members who have been here, and I spoke with both of the new board members about this as well prior to the meeting, is that particularly in the Galvin School, we went out and borrowed and have bonded what we need to build the Galvin School. And actually, last year, this board approved a $5 million, the last end of the tail, $5 million. The reason why we did approve that initial note is because we don't know what the state is going to reimburse us. We have a good idea, but when they do their final tally and final audit, they could say, hey, we're not going to reimburse for all those items. So we can't be caught short. So at this point, what was $5 million is now $3.3 million. So we're rolling over that $3.3 million, and the other $950,000 is for the fire truck the town meeting approved. So what is in front of you today is rolling over this bond for the final issuance next year, and we're rolling over it at a rate of 1%, which is pretty good. And I think we're all refinancing our houses right now. We wish we could get 1%. But this 1% is certainly part and parcel of the AAA bond rating that the town enjoys, and that's from the work of this board here, along with the Finance Committee, and a big part of that is the reserve situation that we're in, and the bond council loves that. So, Madam Chair, if I could read this vote. The board vote to approve the sale of $4,302,743 of 1% general obligation bond anticipation notes of the town dated May 20th, 2016, payable May 19th, 2017, at par plus a premium of $9,466.03. Further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the note, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated April 28th, 2016, and a final official statement dated May 3rd, 2016, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. Further voted that the town treasurer and the Board of Selectmen be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver a significant events disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the note for the benefit of the holders of the note from time to time. Further voted that we authorize and direct the treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the note. Further voted that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute any and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provision of the foregoing notes. That is the motion. If someone would.
So moved.
Thank you, Paul.
So moved by Paul,
Second.
second by Tony. All in favor of the motion as read by Steve?
Aye.
Aye. Great job.
And this is
job, Steve.
oh yeah, this is put together by Peter Fraser at First Southwest, who has done a great job for us, and not only the town of Wakefield, but I was at an event over the weekend in town, started talking to a gentleman who's the town treasurer in Norwood, and they also use First Southwest. So, and they use Peter Fraser, so we've got some stories there, so we do have the best. So thank you very much. A great project and a great rate.
We have a request from Sharon Gilly of the Lucius Beebe Memorial Library to accept and expend a gift or gifts to the library in the amount of $9,542.45 from various donors with thanks.
So moved.
Moved by Paul, second by Peter. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, am I ready for correspondence now?
Oh, you are.
Okay, I just have a couple of things that just came to us. One is the MWRA, their school education program, holds an annual school contest. They do writing and video contests along with posters, and throughout the Commonwealth. And we have two Wakefield students who won awards. Michael Rivers, grade 5 at the Galvin, took second place in the writing contest, which is excellent. And Paige McGibbon, grade 5 of the Galvin, received an honorable mention. So well done on those students for winning across the state. It is also National Public Works Week, May 15th to the 21st. And just as we did in Wakefield for police, fire, and EMS, certainly the Public Works Department do equally as important work in our town. So National Public Works Week is a celebration of tens of thousands of men and women across the country who work as public works professionals. We have a proclamation that I would like to read. So, whereas the public works infrastructure, facilities, and services are of vital importance to sustaining the health, safety, comfort, and well-being of the citizens of Wakefield, and public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives and would not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals representing the town of Wakefield. Where the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works employees, and the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the Public Works Department is materially influenced by the people's understanding of the importance of the work they perform. The Public Works is always there. Communities depend on Public Works, and the men and women of the profession are always there and always ready. The year 2016 marks the 56th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Wakefield do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th to the 21st, 2016 as Public Works Week in Wakefield, and encourage all citizens, business owners, and visitors to the community to recognize the substantial contributions of the Public Works Department in making a great community for all. Well done, Mr. Stinson and everyone who works for him.
Great job.
Okay. I just lost my... Sorry, here we go. There's also a correspondence to just recognizing Karen Failer, a great citizen of this town, who was selected as one of the Commonwealth's unsung heroines of 2016. So well done, Karen. Comments going around the room. Paul?
Madam Chairwoman, I have just maybe one or two. Right now is just upcoming. Friday night, we have a culinary evening at the Sheridan, being presented by and sponsored by the Event Planning Committee. Tickets are still available. Great night. We have 15 local restaurants going to bring in food for everyone to dine on. We have music, dance to. It should be a great night. Tickets are on sale at Holiday Travel or by contacting wakefieldepc@gmail.com. Come on out and enjoy an evening of fun and food. So the other item I would like for our next meeting, if we could possibly talk about it, would be I have an issue right now with crosswalks and how clear they are in positioning of such. So at our next meeting, I would like to have that as an item on there, and I will plan on sitting with Mr. Mayo and going over a few things prior to the meeting so that we can address them at that meeting. So other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony?
Just glad to be here, my first meeting out, and people of Wakefield, like it or not, July 19th, it looks like we're going to have a special election, so let's get some qualified candidates out there. If you want to serve on the board, please go visit Town Hall tomorrow.
Peter?
Well, I just want to say the culinary event is an excellent choice for May 13th, Friday night. I also have tickets, Paul, if anyone is not able to get to Holiday Travel. I have tickets to sell, or Paul will kick me out of the group that I'm a part of. That's it for me, and
Great.
good to be here, too.
Thank you, Peter. Tom?
Just want to welcome our two new members, and that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
Steve?
Just a couple of things, Madam Chair. I did receive, after the agenda was closed, a letter of resignation from Frank Hayes for the Board of Appeals, and I told Frank I was not going to accept it, but Frank has convinced me that because of his work schedule, he will miss too many meetings, and he does not see that changing. And I actually do appreciate it, because oftentimes people that are on appointed boards, they just don't, they just miss meetings, and then it's really unfair. So I do want to thank Frank, has done a wonderful job in a short time there, so this will be a position that we'll be advertising because he has resigned.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more things.
Yeah.
Couple more things. I also want to welcome the two new members. I've had an opportunity to sit down with them on occasion, and congratulations, you both ran great campaigns, and I look forward to working with both of you over the next how many years we're here. And finally, I was going to save this for your last meeting as chair, Madam Chair, but since you might get, who knows, you might get another one, you might hold on to this. So I do want to thank you for a wonderful year as chair. People don't really know how much any town administrator in any town relies on the chair to go over items that are bubbling over. You've talked me off the ledge a few times, and I think I've talked you off the ledge a few times
Yes,
as
you
well.
have.
So I do appreciate all the work, and welcome back to the board.
Thank you very much. Welcome both to Tony and Peter. Look forward to serving with you, absolutely. I will entertain a motion now.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
Second. All in favor of adjourning and to visit the food pantry for our citizens who need it desperately?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.